Hey, all, welcome back to another episode of Harrison Talks Pod, episode 49. We have a fun episode today, and we have guest of Jeek Nation. And today we're going to be talking about some basketball, mostly in the Eastern Conference. Who's in the top? Who's in the middle? And of course, we already started this trade season. I really tried getting these guys on before it happened. And if you know from last season, the first time, or I guess the only time it was recorded last season, I had Matt on and I said, I think last trade deadline is going to be kind of quiet. And then Luca got traded. So this season, there are no predictions. I'm not gonna do it anymore. No, I'm not a betting guy. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit. Harrison Talks Pod is a part of SidePanel Network. I have my daily gaming uploads. Got a few exciting series on that channel. Got some Minecraft, got some Stardew. Really excited about that. Nintendo Therapy will have an episode coming out the same day this one comes out. I'm gonna drop this one a day early, just in case we get any trades in the next 24 hours. We're not gonna be late on it. We might be late. Who knows? Might happen right now. Who knows? And other than that, we got Ninja Turtle Nerds coming out next week, and some other podcasts coming up pretty soon. And also, my last promo, which I don't know how to do yet. Harrison wrote a book. I wrote a book last year. It's called Make Ish Anyway, a practical guide to creating before time runs out. It was something that I spent all last year on, and I'm still trying to figure out how to promote it. But I'll put it on here now. Links are always in the description, and the links for Jeek Nation will also be in the description as well. First from Jeek Nation is Matt. Matt, how you doing today?
Hey Harrison, I'm glad to be back.
And for the first time, finally, is my friend Greg. Greg, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Definitely happy to be back. I was, you know, the little one that we did, Finalysis 101 was like one of the highlights because we were just nerding out over basketball, and I love to nerd out over basketball.
You say a little bit. We did 3 hours, and we
Yeah.
could have done way more than that. We could have done way
Right.
more than that, man. We can talk. We can do it. No problem. Us three, that's an hour each. Anyways, I would do all of your promotions for Jeek Nation, but just tell me, Matt, what have you guys been up to lately at Jeek Nation? And of course, your link tree, everything will be in the description of this episode.
Awesome. Well, for those who haven't come across myself on previous episodes with Harrison, Jeek Nation is Jeek is a moniker I coined, combine the word jock and the word geek, um, as that is still a small sub genre within the sports world and the geek slash nerd world. So we have shows, podcasts, we got a YouTube channel where we're blending the sports and the nerd, geek worlds. What we've been doing, so Greg and I actually recorded, and will be released this weekend, the latest episode of our sports focus show, Finalysis 101. We also have a pro wrestling podcast that's going to be re released this year called Breaking Ring Rust. And then our flagship show, the original Jig podcast, will be entering its ninth season, and the next episode will be its 100th. So we'll be celebrating that and continuing to, particularly with me and Greg, Finalysis 101 is going to have some really dope topics coming up, like debating the the draft classes, the big ones, 03, 96, 84. We're going to be talking about some of the nuances and digging deep into offense of philosophy and styles in basketball, football, etc. So check out Jeek Nation in the Linktree. You can find all of where our podcasts live, our socials, and our Facebook group where we congregate.
That's great. And I love that you did the wrestling podcast second because we do have a busy day of basketball to talk about. But first, since I have both of you on, can we do 2 minutes of Drew McIntyre? I just watched it. I mean, Drew McIntyre, and we got a title change on SmackDown. I know it's a little bit different now because it's not like the regular TV, it's
Yeah.
streaming, but still, I think that is a good sign. But I'm kind of a casual wrestling fan. So, Matt, what was your thought about the match? I just watched it. So, what was your thoughts on it?
Uh, I'm not the biggest Cody Rhodes fan. I'm not a hater, but I'm not like a big fan. Um, Good match. The finish, the finish, I'm still kind of back and forth on,
Mm.
but I'm glad to see that Jacob Fatu returned early, a little earlier than expected from his injury. And heel champions tend to do very well for the WWE. And last time Drew had a run with the title, he was primarily as a babyface. So um, I'm hoping to see that he can have a successful run as champion as a heel, and we'll see what comes out of this. If we're going to get a babyface run for Roman, to be champion, or what comes next on the pipeline.
Is there anything symbolic with Drew and wait, who's the other guy now who's champion?
Uh, um, Gunther.
He's
Not
the other
Gunther. No,
champion? Is he?
no. Seth Rollins. No. Um, CM Punk.
CM Punk.
I hate CM Punk. So yeah, I hate CM Punk. I can't stand CM Punk.
Oh, I didn't
But
know
yeah,
if there was
CM
any
Punk is
connections
champion.
there between the two of them. I didn't know. Yeah, yeah.
Not much. I mean, they were in Drew's younger days, the 3-man band days and stuff. They were in the WWE together, but there wasn't a whole lot of interaction between McIntyre and Punk. Um, but McIntyre was there when Punk kind of soured himself with the company. So they could have maybe a little backstage heat that's really not as prominent as other heat that CM Punk has. But
Huh.
I hate CM Punk, so I don't be talking about him.
I kind of enjoyed watching it. I wonder how long it actually went on live. It was in Germany. That was kind of fun. Eins, zwei, drei. That was kind of fun. But Greg, did you watch it? You're a wrestling guy, right?
No.
No. All right.
I'm a,
All
like through the early '90s kind of wrestling guy. Then I kind of pulled off of it. Was a huge fan as a kid, but I can't speak intelligently on what happened. These names sound like what?
We are here to
Sound
talk
made up.
about we are here to
CM
talk
Punk.
about NBA basketball. And what I like to do is I like to, if someone has a good idea, I like to take that and just make it my own good idea. So we're calling this Better Then or Better Now, early 2000 edition, still tipping. You know, still tipping like basketball, but also like the Mike Jones song 2004. You got it, right?
Yeah,
But we are
yeah, we.
not talking about any Houston Rockets necessarily, any Houston um, players necessarily. But I do have two players, and hey, if you've done either of these already, I apologize. I apologize, all right? But I thought it would be fun if I take one of your segments, Better Zen or Better Now. I'm saying that correctly, right? That's what you guys call it on your podcast. We're doing Better Then or Better Now, still tipping early
Yeah, so
2000
you're
edition.
telling us that you stole. Yeah, Harrison, you're telling us you stole a segment. Hey, you could have just asked, bro. You said, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go
Use the
ahead. Well,
segment. Go
I thought it'd be a
ahead.
nice surprise, and I put in the notes that I sent you. And so we're gonna do basically. I really wanted to do like the early 2000s, like 2002, 3, 4, end of Jordan Wizards, uh, beginning of LeBron on the Cavs, and then there's so much crossover, so many players that played in that era that played with both. So, as
Hmm.
I maybe mentioned before, if you have done either of these on your podcast, hey, I apologize. Our first guy is Bobby Jackson. He's going to represent 0203 because he was the sixth man of the year. If you don't know of Bobby Jackson and you watch highlights of him, a lot of his highlights are downhill. A lot of it's a lot of high energy plays that he has. High usage, high energy combo guard. Wasn't the best shooter if you look at his like true shooting percentages, but perhaps that is something that is better in a 5 out offense that we have today. Certainly was a spark plug off the bench and had big numbers in his six man of the year campaign. Over 15 points per game in 25 minutes, which averages to 21 points, 5 assists in his per 36. So, what else can you ask for a guy like that? Now, that's where I'm gonna stop. And Greg, I want to go to you first. So, um, I have some ideas to go both ways on this one. I got to prepare for this one. So, you think Bobby Jackson would be better when he played Zen or better in the modern NBA now?
Um, I think most guys from like the 2000, like that 2002, 2003 time would probably fare a little bit better with, the less physical defense. Bobby was a small guy. Um, I was trying to look up his shooting. I feel like he had a solid mid range, um, which is against the law today. So the further you forced him out, I think the shooting percentages drop. So I could see him still being a factor because of his energy. He had a dog mentality, and he also didn't shy away on the defensive end. Not the greatest defender, but he was an active. Like he put effort into it. So I think he would be solid today. Um, I also think, honestly, if not for some of the circumstances he was in, he could have been a better player. In his day, if he would have been able to be more like in a starting role, but he kind of adjusted to that six man kind of role. Um, and back then, still to this day it happens, but back then you get typecast. So it's like
Mhm.
once they had him as a bench guy, he pretty much stayed there. But yeah, he's a solid player, and I mean, the other part that I'm always interested in is the psychology of sports, right? Like guys could shoot, but if they would actively have coaches telling them, don't shoot threes, don't do this. So in an era where now everybody's encouraged to shoot every three you can get get your hands on, I think, you never know what those shooting numbers would be like.
Some context of what you said, and then Matt, I'll send it over to you. Not sure about his mid-range tracking, but over half his shots for his entire career came within 10 feet. So he was
Hmm.
getting into the paint a lot. But again, if you watched him, that's no surprise. Like if you watch him off the bench, 54% true shooting percentage in that six man of the year campaign, but uh, it's a lot of give and take, even Zen, which is also connected to the typecasting, which you mentioned. So, yes, Matt, better Zen or better now?
Oh man, it's a great question. Uh, you brought some great stats. Ray made some great points. Shout out to Bobby Jackson, Big Ten player, Minnesota Golden Gophers. Um, a personal favorite of mine. I because, partially because I played, especially when I was in college, I played very much like a Bobby Jackson, scrappy, getting at it, coming off the bench, providing a defensive boost and offensive boost, a lot of downhill scoring. Um, Bobby would today fare a little bit better than he fared in his day. A lot to the points that both of you previously mentioned. He would probably shoot a better 3-point percentage because he's going to get more wide open looks. And also, like Greg said, he's not going to be deterred from shooting those shots like he would have been in his era. But also his size, as far as his frame, not a tall guy, but a very muscular, um, not quite stocky, but a guy with a lot of muscle on him to take a lot of impact and very imposing when he attacks the rim. And we live, we're in an era right now where contact is something that people are shying away from. So he would have very little resistance going downhill and attacking the basket, and that would definitely be very beneficial for him, especially again in this era where we have a lot of soft whistles. So someone who can go through contact, likes contact, and is a good finisher at the rim is going to get a lot of extra free throws. So I think he would be better now just because he's going to get more wide open shots along the perimeter, as well as he's going to get more chances to produce from the free throw line due to his attacking nature and his ability to absorb and finish through contact. Bobby to me today's 16 points off the bench score, 3 rebounds. And Bobby had a fantastic assist to turnover ratio, which will probably go up a bit as well in this pace and space uh, world that we live in. So he probably goes up to maybe a 4-2 or 4-1.5 assist to turnover ratio. He was a very um, good ball handler and a high IQ player who did not make many mistakes.
Something that I hear a lot about any I'd say any era, but especially modern era players, and I think it's maybe a boring statement, but I'm gonna say it. Bobby Jackson is better with a point guard, but I think that's how you could describe a lot of players in the NBA as well. So with that being said, I wrote down a couple ideas, but um, do do either of you have a player that plays now that you would compare him to? There's one on the Kings
Mm.
right now that I would compare him to, very much so. Or wait, or wait. Who does Malik Monk play for?
Right now
Malik,
he's with the Kings.
He's at the Kings. Okay,
he's with the
I
Kings.
got nervous for a second.
Yeah,
I was like, there was a
well,
pause there.
I was just thinking of Malik's game. I I can't think of many players that are really playing close to Bobby's style, especially because he's a combo guard. I would say someone recently played that was a combo guard, could play the point, could play off the ball. Um, a talented guy, but not regarded generally as a starter. Um, I think a closer comparison would be more of like Reggie Jackson.
You
Uh,
man, you stole that out of my notes.
no, I didn't.
That was
Um,
gonna be my
but
big coup de grace. Go
well,
ahead, bro.
that was your ace in the hole because he reminded me
Exactly.
Piggyback off it.
because Reggie Jackson reminded me of Bobby. Reggie, generally a backup outside of his starting in Detroit, but a backup who could play both guard positions. Had a fire downhill, better shooter than you generally remember him to be,
Mhm.
but really didn't hit that upper level. And that's how Bobby's career was. And we saw Reggie have a long, extended career and a successful career, primarily as a backup guard. So that he's the closest modern era comparison that I have, and obviously Craig had to.
Yeah, yeah. That was like the first person that came to mind. I know he's not in the league right now. I'm pretty sure he's not.
I,
But
I don't think so, but he was last year.
watching, I had to watch a lot of Thunder games back then, like when he first came in, and watching him come off the bench and be that spark, and then you're looking at him like, oh no, this dude might be a starter. I think Bobby was, that good. And the kind of guy that can get you a game sometimes. Like, you know, if your main guys are having an off night, he might be able to take over and get a game here or there. So I think that's a really good um, guys that are like not necessarily the most natural scorer. Like I saw like Malik Monk. Um, like Malik Monk gets buckets. Like when he was at Kentucky, like he gets buckets, like just a natural scorer. But I think Reggie was kind of in between, and I think Bobby's that same way. Like, but in today's game, where there aren't any more pattern players. It's like everybody's supposed to be able to, get their, be able to get their shot off on their own. So yeah, I think Reggie Jackson's a good one.
Yeah, I struggled because I wrote down five players and players that had a similar role or similar
Hmm.
stats, but no one that really had that same like energy off the bench, kind of thrived in chaos. It was maybe more of the style of play that the Sacramento Kings had at the time as well. But we have
Yeah.
fast paced or teams that focus more on defense, less on defense nowadays. So yeah, Malik Monk, like Jordan Clarkson is a role comparison, but not a player comparison.
Yeah.
Colin
Yeah.
Sexton is a transition comparison, but I think that's kind of it. Bones Highland, volatile, I think, kind of the offensive spark. Manuel Quickly,
Mhm.
maybe kind of close to that role. But yeah, no players I really had a success with comparing with Bobby Jackson. Let's move on. Next one is going to represent the 03-04. Of course, LeBron's in the league. Detroit wins the championship. And we've talked about him briefly on this podcast before, and that is Big Nasty Corliss Williamson. He was Sixth Man of the Year in 2001, 2002. He won with the Detroit Pistons in 2004. He did leave after that, was traded to, I think, the Sixers, and then ended up Phoenix, somewhere else. He ended up he was traded after that for cap space. But if you want to talk about energy off the bench now, I want to mention that his basketball reference has him at 6'7", 245. Um, I think that's light. I think that's light for him. Unless he's just like a solid guy, which he is. I mean, like I was watching some highlights of him today, and just watching the amount of people that like run into him and then just fall over is just really really funny. But yeah, if you want to watch an archetype of early 2000s basketball of like I'm amazed that strength training conditioning was so early on in the early 2000s in basketball. It kind of started in the middle end of the Jordan era, right? It was still pretty new, but we had some strong guys back then though. Um, Nearly all of his offense came from inside. In his six man of the year campaign, he had a 30% usage when he was on the floor, had a 20 PER, and his per 36 was 22.5. So has created a lot on both ends of the ball for Detroit and for the other teams that he's been on at the time. I tried making some comparisons, but I'd much rather just send it over to the Detroit guy first. So, Matt, take it away. And I'm predicting what you're gonna say, but better then or better now. I actually didn't. I didn't make my choice yet. So you go first.
This is a tougher one. Uh, I mean, I'll preface. I love Big Nasty. Um, such a just a bull wrecking through the Chinese shop on the way to the basket. Like you said, a lot of people bounced off of him, especially when he was matched up with against smaller players. He's a tough one because so much of his scoring is inside, and the way defenses play now, it would be really tough uh, to get to stop him once he's going. The problem is, where does he fit into a modern offensive scheme? Are you going to have a coach that's willing to slow down the offense to get into a half court set so that Corliss can go to work? That wasn't a problem under Larry Brown in 2003, in 03, 04, because their half court offense with Chauncey at the top of the key, Rip cutting through his screens, and if Corliss is on the court with them, and Rip can't get open, then they're giving it to him on the left side, kind of mid high post on the corner there, and let Corliss back down his defender and go to work and get a bucket. You really don't have that much in today's offensive schemes. So unless you can find a way to get some quick touches to Corliss, it's going to be difficult for him to have a greater amount of production than he did during his era. Um, but if you can put him in a situation where he can create and get his shot off, uh, there is not anybody that really could stop him. 15 feet and in, he's going to attack the basket. He's going to score. He's got great touch inside, 15 feet, off the glass, good finishing around the rim. Um, Very underrated footwork as well, which makes him really tough in today's era because you can take 800 extra steps. So if you're giving an
Oh,
extra step or two and if you're giving Corliss a gather or two, he can catch the ball at the 3 point line and still get to the basket and draw contact and get to the line. So it definitely makes him more dangerous if you can plug him into the right offensive system today. But that is the big caveat for me is where do you fit him into the modern offense? You really have to play an older offense, which can be done. As we've got a couple teams we're going to talk about that are playing more of a 2000 style, early 2000 style basketball right now. So it's a possibility, but honestly, I think he was probably better for his era with the bulkiness and the offensive schemes that fit his body type and his abilities a little bit better than they do.
And I agree with everything you said. I would include that um, he shot just over 14% from three on very, very low attempts. He just never shot threes. So if you played in the modern NBA, he might not shoot threes, but he would practice them more, I'm sure. Like into the shot clock, things like that. Spacing is something that you've brought up, but I'm thinking more about the defensive side and how Corliss Williamson does in a pick and roll. Um, if he gets put into a pick and roll with perimeter players. Is he someone that is able to switch 1 through 4? Is my question in the modern NBA. So, Greg, I send it over to you. Better then or better now?
so I gotta shout out, him at the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Hmm.
Those are
Yep.
like a couple of the best college basketball teams I remember watching. And he was the guy. He was the Carl Malone of that team. Um, the NBA was interesting because, of course, he was undersized, so you would catch him, being played at the three. And he, as time went on, he kind of built himself into a really solid, 3-4 guy. I look at teams like New Orleans, what they're doing with Derek Queen right now is very similar to what Denver does with Jokic, what Houston does with Şengün. And I know Corliss is, shorter, but he was really active on the offensive end. He was a good passer. He didn't get a lot of chance to pass, but I think you might be able to run him, like run some offense through him, like at the high post. Um, and he was a really skilled basketball player. I think at his time, he had to convert because he was basically like a power forward center in college. Um, but his strength, his finishing, I think he would be okay. Like, you put him in space, and now that some people, like Matt said, some people are going back to like, okay, I have a mismatch. Let's go ahead and post them up. It's really weird. But they're starting to do that again. So I think that he could have a chance to be something special. My question would be is like you said, can he guard in space? Um, not that. So we have this argument as a Laker fan right now. We're a little bit defensively, handicapped. But part of it is just, moving, playing with effort, and being like they space you out so much. Everybody's going to be able to get off. It's just, can you recover? Can you help your man? If you get beat, are you just going to stand there and look at the refs like LeBron and Luca do? Or are you going to, actually get back into play? And, he was a worker. So I think, like if Joker and some of these guys are able to be on the floor, then I think Corliss would as well. His foot speed wasn't crazy, but it actually wasn't, it was better. It was just something he had to work on because, again, you're going from man amongst boys to, a little guy.
So, how do you guys decide on your show? Because, like, of course, you got the tech and you got the eras, and you have of course, this part of his game would be better if he played today, whether it's shooting, and of course, like, what team wouldn't want a Corliss Williamson type attitude player on their team? Of course, like, I think he is someone that would fit in with a lot of different franchises. So, yeah, what do you guys do on your show? Like, because we compare eras and like there could even be times where your stats could be better in the modern NBA, but you have lower impact. So, how do you guys decide on your show? Don't.
We just leave it where it is.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
leave it
because
where it
because yeah, we leave it where because I mean it's it's based off of the information we have and what we know, and obviously it's all a hypothesis, and just whether we believe one likely more than the other. I think you did a fantastic choice with this particular player in Corliss because he would be definitely better in some aspects offensively, but not better in other aspects offensively, and same defensively. He really wasn't checking guards in his day, and it would be definitely harder for him to check guards in modern days with all the switching. He would definitely get a lot of mismatches on guarding the pick and roll because either the guard he switches on is going to be much faster than he is laterally, and any big that he switches on to is going to be much taller than he is, and they're just going to shoot over him because they listed him at 6'7", but let's be real, he was Charles Barkley's 6'4" height. He wasn't no 6'7", so
Right. So,
he would really be in a really tough spot defensively in today's NBA.
right. Right. So maybe he was 245 at 6'4". Right. Yeah, who knows?
Oh,
Because
he was probably 260, but he
Yeah,
wasn't no 6'7".
yeah,
yeah. I
you're always taller. They're usually taller than what they're listed, and they're usually lighter than what they're listed. Right. I said that
Oh, they're
right.
usually
Yeah.
shorter than what they're
yeah, usually
no,
shorter.
they're
Sorry. They're usually
shorter.
shorter than what they're listed, and heavier than what they're listed. That I said it the opposite way. You got it.
Yeah,
You got it.
Right.
yeah,
But
they're usually shorter and heavier than what they're listed.
yeah.
Until you get to like the 6'9", 6'10" guys, then they start lying and saying they're shorter than they actually
Right,
are.
Oh yeah.
right.
Definitely.
Because T Mac is really like
6'10",
6'10", 6'11".
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6'10", 6'11". KD's 6'11", but they both said they 6'9".
The K
Yeah,
I I remember the first time seeing KD live, and
Hmm.
we were sitting, and it was like him, Kendrick Perkins, Serge Ibaka. They're all like in this huddle, like on the court with Russ, and I'm like, he's a liar. Like there's no 6'9" in this dude. That dude is like 7 foot, man. So
I
yeah,
think the same with Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum might have come into the league at 6'9", but I think
yeah,
Jason
he
Tatum
grew.
might have grown to
here.
like 6'11", because seeing him next to LeBron in the Olympics, I'm like, either LeBron is 6'6", or Jason Tatum is like 6'10" or something like that, because
Yeah,
there's a difference there. Before we get off that last part here, any comps for Corliss Williamson? I think I have one, but he's playing overseas right now, I'm pretty sure. But any comparisons to modern players that you have in your mind?
I don't know. Like his body
You have
type.
one, Greg?
I'm trying to think of one. His body type is like almost unheard of in today's game.
Yeah, I mean, the only person body type that's kind of close, you put it in your notes there, Harrison, is PJ Tucker, but their games are so different.
Yeah,
But body size, that's the only one that's kind of close um, to how Corliss was built. Corliss's build was like he's a football player playing basketball. Like that's what his type of build was.
yeah,
So like there's basketball is such a a thin man, slight man's game. A trimmer guys. He there's really not that type of build really in the league that I can even think of, because even PJ is smaller
Hmm.
than what Corliss was. Just big shoulders of Corliss. Tree trunk size. Um, they're just not built like that.
Right. Right. Well, the one overseas guy I put in my notes is Montrezl Harrell, who I don't know.
Yeah, Trez
Yeah,
muscular guy, but
yeah,
still really a thin guy.
yeah.
but like play wise, I can see that he's not going to shoot, from outside. He's a dirty work guy, a hustle guy. Um, so I could see that. I think what is Trez? Trez is taller. I
Yeah,
think
he's
he's
taller.
like a good like 6'8", 6'9", or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, but I like play style. I could see, something very similar. And unfortunately, I think a big part of the reason that Trez is in like is not in the league right now is because he couldn't guard in space. Um, but I also
yeah,
think I still want to. I need somebody to pay me money to investigate these things because I still feel like there is a little bit of blackballing that came along with that. Um,
mm,
because he was very productive. Like he was really productive, and
he was.
and then all of a sudden you're not able to play in the league anymore.
Did he do
There's,
something? Did he do something?
so I have this thing, and I hate to say it, but I've seen. I don't want to blame LeBron because I get blamed. Get called a LeBron hater a lot, but the LeBron era Lakers have killed off a bunch of careers. Like you go there, and then whenever when things don't go right, you're they blame, they blame, they blame. So
Hmm.
like, what's his name? Lonnie Walker is not in the league right now. You know, it's like guys go there, they take like 1 year deals, and then they get blamed for stuff they didn't do, and next thing you know, they're playing in Yugoslavia, which is not a country anymore, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, man, I would really like to look into it to figure out what did he do, because even I'm looking like after the Lakers, he went to Washington. He was productive. Charlotte, productive that in that little time. And then there was like a huge fall off in Philly. And but that they'll tell you that like don't take like when you're especially when you're young or you're in your prime, don't take 1 year deals. Don't take like that stuff kills you.
You remember, and I totally just forgot about this, but you remember him and Luca in the bubble? Remember that whole
Hmm.
and you know like what Montrezl Harrell said to him, that like I was really surprised. I wasn't surprised, but I was like, guys, do we really have to make a big thing out of this? You know, like he called him like something white boy, something like that. I was like, Luca played in Slovenia, like, and he's been white his whole life. He's been hearing that every single day, and he would play, and people would like take coins and light them and like throw them at the players. You know, like he's
Hmm.
Luca, I don't think he really cares about any of that. Plus, he's rich. Who cares? Who cares? You know. But
Oh, okay. A little bit of research. So he took, I guess he had an ACL injury in 23, 24, and then a doping violation.
oh,
So maybe this is helping him. He even tested, just weed when he was in China. That's rude. Why are they
oh,
testing for
oh,
weed?
he was in China, and because I knew he was playing overseas somewhere. I can't remember if it was Taiwan or Puerto Rico
Well,
or whatever.
Mm.
Weed in China, you can't do that. You can't, just can't.
No, I mean I get it, but
You can't.
yeah.
I mean, who cares? But but yeah. Um, You can't do it in Russia. You can't do it in China. Yeah, it's just kind of
it's illegal. I, you know,
yeah.
you saw what they did to
I live.
BG.
I used to
You know,
live there. I didn't do anything like that. No, 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 no. Being locked up abroad is
Oh.
no bueno. Um,
highly illegal there. Highly.
I've seen the show.
it, when I flew into Singapore the first time, like they tell you on the plane, like if you have drugs, we will kill you. Like that's pretty much what they tell you as you're flying into the airport, which I did not, of course. You guys came at the most opportune time to talk about the Eastern Conference, and when I was on your Finalysis
Listen.
show, I was in charge of the Eastern Conference predictions. Which, if you went back on, I was pretty wrong so far. Cavs not doing well. Knicks have been streaky, but are on a skid right now. So we're going like we're kind of well. Detroit's keep going up, but New York's kind of going like this right now. For context, Detroit has won 4 of their last 5. They are 28-9. They are first in the East by 4 games, and there are only 4 games separating 2 and 9 right now. So it's really close after you get past the Pistons, and they did beat the New York Knicks last week. They the Knicks only scored 90 points. I had it somewhere in here. Well, anyways, they beat the Knicks by a large margin, and then the Knicks have
31.
lost 5 of their last 6 and are still in second place, but only by a half game. They just lost in Phoenix, who's playing surprisingly well, 117 to 107. Poor shooting night, poor turnover night. Um, yes. And anyways, let's get into it. Basically, I want to ask you guys, I mean, Greg, I'll start with you. Would you take the Pistons over the Knicks at this point? Because this would go against what I predicted.
Um, so my problem with the Pistons is that I feel like they need another. They're they're gonna have to pull like another like consistent scorer when it gets to the playoff. I think Josh Hart. How long has Josh Hart been out? I think when they added him to the lineup, that's when they started like taking off. I feel like he's the heart of the Knicks. So
No pun
like,
intended. I'm sorry, keep going.
what'd you say?
I said no pun
Oh,
intended.
no,
Like Josh Hart, but keep going. I'm sorry, keep
gotcha.
going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gotcha. But honestly, I think the Pistons are playing like a more consistent style of ball that can be replicated like on a nightly basis. I feel like their roles are established really well. I feel like they don't have Cat on their team, so they have a chance to be like more consistent. Because that guy, like one night he might look like like 40 and 15. The next night he might be 16 and 6. So it's like I think if I had to put money on it, I would go with the Pistons just because it's more of a sustained type of ball that they're playing.
And what do you guys call Cat on your show? You got a name for him?
I call him Putty Tat.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that's a Tweety Bird reference, but I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know if that's the
oh,
popular word.
I thought it was some Bahamas thing. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I thought you guys had a fun name for him, but
I don't know,
I didn't
Matt.
remember. Because I was on your show and I remember you guys had some fun names for a couple different guys. Whether it was DeAndre Ayton or
we
whoever.
we stole Lemon Daddy from
Lemon
Gil's
Daddy. Yeah,
Arena.
yeah.
Um, Putty Tat is yeah, Cat is Putty Tat. And what, Putty Tat played like Putty Tat against my Pistons because he had 6 points
Hmm.
and six turnovers, which for the Knicks is so. In all fairness to listeners, Harrison predicted the Knicks to win the Atlantic Division, and also to make it to the NBA Finals. Greg and I both echoed that sentiment. So we're not going to make Harrison feel bad for picking the Knicks and where the Knicks are right now, because all three of us were in agreement that this is the Knicks' best chance, and with the landscape of the league during at the preview time, they definitely looked poised to be the team to represent the East in the NBA Finals. So not a bad pick. The Knicks are not playing well. I think there are a couple reasons for that. I think they are still adjusting to a new regime in Mike Brown. Josh Hart's injury, having him out of the lineup, impacts them massively, especially on defense, and because most of that team really cannot defend well. Um, Cat ain't guarded nobody, never has been really much of a defender. Jalen Brunson is limited defensively. Mikhail Bridges is limited defensively. Um, Jordan Clarkson's not having the impact I thought he would with the Knicks. So Josh Hart not being around really is very impactful for them. And even though I'm not a big fan of his, the Knicks do miss DiVincenzo defensively on the perimeter. Um, even Eugene OG Anunoby's up and down right now. Mitchell Robinson apparently listens to country music and complaining in the locker room when his teammates have DMX on. Rather listen to Morgan Wallen or whatever. So you can't trust him. Um,
Jimmy Butler had a good night
the, so
tonight.
the Knicks, but the Knicks right now have a consistency problem, and they are having some on the court issues when it comes to execution. So, but I would not count them out completely because again, They are second in the East. They're only 3.5 behind the Pistons. Now, the Pistons, one thing that the Pistons have that they don't have is that consistency. And I said to Greg when we were recording this week, when the Bulls beat the Pistons beat the Bulls that night, they beat them without Cade Cunningham, without Jalen Duren, without Tobias Harris, which is bad news for the Eastern Conference. Because if you're losing by 20 to a team without its two best players and its probably most important veteran, the consistency that the team is playing with without their best players is not good for the rest of the league because their bench players are confident that they can continue to execute and win. And even though Chandler Parsons, who I don't know why he's on TV talking about anything, um, says that this is the least talented team he's seen to be at the top of a conference. What? Like this Pistons team is deep. Like you don't have to like the players, but between Karis LeVert, Duncan Robinson, Paul Reed, Javante Green, Marcus Sasser, Dennis Jenkins, who's playing out of his mind on this two-way contract, this and Isaiah Stewart, this team is
Ron
deep off the
Holland.
bench.
Ron Holland.
Ron Highland,
Like
and my man, I love Ron Highland the third.
that's my
That's
favorite
my
big
guy.
coming off the bench.
Yeah.
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 I love Ron. And I love Ron because he plays like I did. When I came off the bench, 100% energy. I'm going after every loose ball. I'm hustling. I'm getting offensive rebounds, hitting my shots, getting steals and attack and on the fast and running the fast break. Like that the Pistons best thing about them is their depth. Yes, Cade Cunningham's ahead of the snake, MVP candidate, should be number 2 or maybe number 1 in your MVP race, balling out of his mind. But the execution, the buy-in, they buy into Coach Bickerstaff. They believe in what he's saying. They believe in each other, and they continue to win. And it's scary for the league because it's very reminiscent of the Bad Boy Pistons and the Going to Work Pistons of 0304. Deep, everybody's bought in, good coach, and they are getting up in teams without their best players. So the Knicks aren't as bad as they're looking right now, but the Pistons could be better. And like Greg said, I would like them to have another go-to scorer come playoff time, which is why I'm hoping CJ McCollum gets released and the Pistons can snag him up and have some off the bench firepower. Um, but the Pistons, they're exceeding my expectations because I had them kind of still the 4 or 5 position in the Eastern Conference. But they are showing that they can beat the best teams in this league. They've already beaten Houston. They destroyed the Lakers by 20. They destroyed the Knicks by 31.
We
They beat the
weren't
Bulls by
fully
20.
staffed. We didn't have all our players.
You had all your players. What you talking about, Willis? Except for AR, you had your players. You
Right.
had LeBron and Luca.
But we
You had
didn't have
LeBron
the
and Luca.
weapon. We didn't have the weapon.
Only
You ain't
LeBron and
have Lemon
Luca.
Daddy.
Only LeBron and Luca. Can I
Only
ask?
LeBron and Luca.
All right. 30 seconds of Lakers talk, and then we can't do any more of it. But can I ask a cultural thing? I'm kind of nervous about it, but I want to know though about DeAndre Ayton. I'm kind of worried about asking though. The the brown braids, is that a thing? Is that a look or is
No,
that no?
no. He walking out there looking like a wicker basket. No, it's not a thing. And he did dye it black. It's back. Well, he
It's like
undyed
again.
it, and yeah, it's black again, and it looks like it's been cut some. So it was one of the hardest things about being a Lakers fan for me. The first, 2 months of the season,
Yeah.
3 months of the season,
And he was
however
playing
you say it.
okay. He was playing okay too, and it was like
Yeah, no, I will say Wicker Basket was playing
like
better,
back to
but still, no. I was so out of the loop. And to be fair, and this is nothing against Bahamian players or anything, but he's not technically American, so maybe that's cool where he's from,
Exactly.
but I
That's
doubt
what I'm
it.
saying. And like,
He is Bahamian, but I don't I didn't we haven't seen Buddy Hield do that. We ain't seen Clay do that. We ain't seen none of the other Bahamians doing this mess.
Clay would rather go blind than do that, man. Like, no, yeah. That's a
yeah,
good question though,
I,
because nobody's asked me about it, and I appreciate you
well,
asking
there's
me.
a reason why somebody like me wouldn't ask a question about hair. All right. But like, I just, I thought I would ask it in a non offensive way. It's like everyone's got their own look. I got gray hair. Everyone's got their own look. I mean, I don't care. I grew up in the '90s.
Yeah,
My
but the
my
problem is Aiden did that voluntarily.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
He
he
sat
chose to
in
do that.
he sat in somebody's chair and said, "Yeah, this I want to look like a rusty Brillo
Oh,
pad."
yeah
Like he
he
chose
paid
that.
somebody. He paid somebody $500 to do that to his head. And,
yeah
that was
500,
terrible.
probably more than that.
yeah.
I
And
hope not.
I
Not
mean,
enough friends, man. Like you have to have friends that can like roast you. You just need a good solid roasting right there, and then keep on about your business.
yeah, that is true. But I mean, one of my favorite players had rainbow hair, so it's kind of a different
You
circumstance. He
know,
also
I
he also married himself,
yeah,
but it's kind of a different
yeah,
thing.
but if you're averaging 50 rebounds a game and being the premier defender in the world, then you can do whatever you want. If
well,
you're averaging
well,
15 and
clearly
10,
he ended up on celebrity rehab. He can clearly do whatever he wanted. Yes.
correct,
Um,
correct.
Yeah.
but still, yes, one of my favorite players in the '90s. And yeah. Anyways, we are 1 hour in, which means it is time to talk the Trae Young trade. Trae Young is finally traded, and I just couldn't be more happy about this. Not that I hate Trae Young, it's just that I think this is something that's really good for a league. Once upon a time, I thought this would be Carl Anthony Towns for Trae Young straight up. It was a straight up trade, which is going to be super rare in the modern NBA with this CBA. Two teams, no picks involved. Hawks get CJ McCollum, Corey Kispert, which is, I think, a solid pickup there. Wizards receive Trae Young, and who knows what the expectations for Trae Young and the Wizards are this season, but it does give them, I think, a certain amount of cultural relevance. And hey, Trae Young's 27 years old. So that's the bottom line. It's just that we all know that in this point in the NBA, it's really hard to kind of trade off when there's so many players that can produce offense for you. And clearly, Atlanta was going another direction. And I think it's so unique. I'll never forget how this all went down. Atlanta Hawks pretty much tried to make a defensive team to put around Trae Young. Trae Young gets hurt. They start playing well. Now we're here. So um, I think it helps both teams in a way, maybe not in the short term or in the immediate, but in a way, this is one of the trades that when I see it as a just a general NBA fan, I really, really like. So yeah, I can't believe we're here. He's not washed. He just has limitations, and the Wizards have some good things going on for them. I think they're more looking at like 26, 27, pretty much. And I'll circle back and talk about my Hawks excitement. But Greg, you're kind of the Atlanta representative right now. So how about you tell me your what was your reaction, like your immediate reaction when you heard the Trae Young trade?
Well, they had been talking about it for a minute, so I was actually happy. Like I've been in Atlanta for 26 years, so I've seen the Joe Johnson, Hawks, which is the best iteration of Hawks that we've seen since like the late 80s. Um, I saw what Trey did for the city, like how he, brought like this excitement and it felt like a changing of the guard. And then I watched the Hawks. Like I feel like in the beginning they gave him the keys right away. They didn't ask him to earn the keys, they just gave it to him. But then they started doing weird stuff like they just kind of botched like the Cam Reddish. They took his confidence away from him. I was there like sitting like watching, Vince Carter try to like, you know, bring him back because he looked like he's gonna cry on the bench, you know. Um they just started making like weird, like they brought in Cam and DeAndre Hunter, and it's like, okay, you got him some guys to run with him, and then they, just mismanaged. The Hawks have been a bad franchise for a long time. And I hope nobody beats me up in Atlanta. But it's true. And so I was actually happy when they said they were going to move him. Um, I'm loving what we're seeing with Jalen Johnson, and hopefully they can put the players around him to where they can do better because the city's a lot better when our teams are competitive. Um, so, but yeah, I was cool with it. I think the Wizards, like I've been eyeing the Wizards, and I gotta say, Will Dawkins, who's their GM, he came under Sam Presti, and he seems to be. It looks like he knows. He's got a vision, at least in Washington. They got a nice group of young players, and they have a lot of money falling off the books. I think Chris Middleton falls off the books at the end
I
of
think
this
so.
year. So yes, and the other part is like we're watching behind the scenes. So Alex Sarr, he didn't want to come to Atlanta. He forced his way to Washington. Ace Bailey was trying to go to Washington this year. So I think there's something inside, the NBA that's giving people making people think that this might be a good place to play. Like they're building.
Right. And Corey Kispert's on a good salary. Uh, and the trade-off is that McCollum expires this season, Trae Young expires next season. So to me, the worst case scenario is you lose Corey Kispert, you pay Trae Young for an extra year, then you move on. Um, but I don't anticipate that happening. Considering Trae Young said he wanted to go to Washington, and it's like, okay, sure, yes, he wants to go to Washington. Then let's make it happen then. So we'll see, but I think it was low risk thinking about the long term. Uh Greg, what's the temperature check in Atlanta though? Like how are people how are the locals feeling
So
about it?
it's kind of split. You got a lot of people that love Trey, and then you always consider like the stuff that these guys are doing in the community, which is helps. But then there's a lot of people. One thing about Atlanta is they will bury you in a second. They're very impatient. It's part of the reason why they never win anything. Um, but so there's a lot of people that have, they're like, this should have happened 2 years ago. I'm on the fence. Like the way that Trey plays, he dominates the ball, pass to assist, doesn't play defense. I mean, he's one of the guys that I feel like is not physically capable to play defense. He's very frail and short. So it's like half and half from what I've been seeing. I think it's good though because I do think if Trey stays here, then we don't know how far Jalen Johnson is gonna go. Um, and he's looking like I had to look it up. He's almost averaging a triple double right now. I think
Yeah.
he's like 2 assists away from it. So
Yeah, and
Yeah, he's working out.
yeah, and speaking of triple double, Dyson Daniels against, I mean, against Washington,
Last
but
night, right?
Dyson Daniels last night against Washington, um, it was against Washington, yes, had a really nice. No, they didn't play Washington.
He played, I think,
Washington
Denver, right?
played the Pelicans last night. Excuse me, um, but they
Yeah, he
had
played the
Denver. They
wait,
played
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Denver. They played Denver,
Yeah,
blew them out. Denver had 86 points, and Dyson Daniels had 17, 11, and 10. Jalen Johnson, 29 points. And man, Jalen Johnson is so good. Like, where did that come from? I don't know how the All Stars work this year with the world and the USA. I know they're just gonna keep adding players until they get enough, but he's got to be right there in the East, or the USA. However the hell it works. But yeah, do you know off the top of your head how many head coaches Trae Young played for in Atlanta?
yeah. Um,
It's a good
Nate
question.
McMillan. Um, I want to. I probably would say like 4 or 5.
2 or 3.
Yeah, Nate McMillan for a second. The Lloyd whatchamacallit guy. Uh, Terrible coach Quinn Snyder,
Chris
who's there
Schneider.
now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I feel like
It's
at
like
least
one. It's like
I
three.
think
one
it's
every 2
3. Yeah,
years.
I think
Like
it's 3.
it's like one every 2 years, and then he had issues with Nate McMillan, right?
Yeah,
Or
everybody's gonna have. If you don't defend, everyone's gonna have issues with Nate McMillan.
Yeah, I mean, Nate was a two-way player and believes in two-way basketball. So if you don't play defense, yeah, Nate's got an issue with you,
so
which
Matt,
I
what
love.
are what are
I
your
love Nate for that.
um? Go ahead, Matt. What are your overall
Yeah,
reactions to this trade?
Um, I think we don't really see the true ramifications of this trade until next season. It's because it's doubtful that Trey plays much, if any, through the rest of the season. The Wizards are going to want to protect their draft position. Um, but I said on Finalis 101, because the trade happened mid recording, that the biggest, most happiest person of this needs to be Alex Sarr, and the other scorers on that team, because Trey will get them the ball in better position and easier positions to be productive. So the team should be looking forward to Trey getting on the court. I just think that this season's a wash for Washington, no pun intended, um, and that we'll really see what comes out of the draft for them and what other pieces they may put around Trey to have a competitive team. The Hawks, I don't know what the Hawks are doing. CJ is too old and beat up to be anybody's main star. Um, so I think if I think it's not like it's that much of a cap clearing move because Trey only had another 18 months left on his deal. So it's kind of tricky as far as what they're expecting to get out of it. Um,
I could say
yeah,
that.
I
Yeah, I
I'm
could
not
say
sure
that
what
they
I'm not
could.
sure. The Hawks doing it confused me.
I could say that
I'm
they
saying the
could have
pros
got
for the
more.
con. Sorry, the pros for the Hawks just seem to be we're getting rid of Trey, and that's
yeah,
our big
Yeah,
gain.
that was their. I think they respected him enough to move, try to move him. But I think their big thing was they're getting rid of him, and of course that money that comes with it. So they're primed.
Right.
Like I heard that they were talking about uh, trying to trade for AD. That's probably going to
not
be
gonna
out
happen
the window
anymore.
now since he got injured again
Yep.
every game.
A thumb injury of all
Street
things.
clothes.
Ligament.
Yes, ligament,
Yeah.
ligament
Yeah.
in his left hand.
Right.
Huh.
S- Yeah, I think Atlanta
Street
has.
clothes. Street clothes.
like I think Atlanta has another move this offseason when they have more money. I don't know how I don't know if they can attract players to come to their team. But yeah, I'm happy to see that they worked with Trey on the trade. And I think, if they did not care about that at all, they could have maybe gotten a bit more. And hey, if you would have traded him a year ago, 18 months ago, you would have gotten more than as well. But yeah, I really hope that Hawks fans are more thinking about like, hey, like we get to start fresh, but we also got this awesome player who's going to be an all-star in the meantime. That doesn't usually happen with most teams. So
And
I'm super
and
excited about it.
and I didn't want to interrupt, but like also, so Research is an interesting player. They drafted him. They took him number one. He shows these flashes, but now kind of with that elephant out of the locker room, like the first that I think that he can do a little bit more. I hope he can because it's sad. He's kind of toggled between a role player and like maybe there's some potential there. So I think that this might open up for him as well. So I think like both of these teams have like a nice group of young players on their roster. Um, and we're seeing, what the model is now is build around young guys, bring in some more young guys. It's almost like that AAU mentality where we're gonna stack our team with a whole bunch of guys that are gonna play hard. Detroit, OKC, San Antonio, and get a couple of stars and you can go. So
Yeah.
it
I'm
might be interesting to see if Research Shade can develop into like more of a solid guy.
Yeah, I'm wondering about him. Like I see people like players like Miles Buzelis in Chicago and like it seems like Risa Shea is one of the players that we often kind of forget about. But yeah, just so excited that like Atlanta was the team that I would often avoid watching so often or would just kind of not enjoy watching when I did. But now I feel like I'm
Mm,
locked in. Like it feels like they almost did a whole like 180 on what they're going to be going with to be much more of a cultural team that I'll want to watch. Just like I've loved watching the Heat play this year, and I usually do, but like they're not the best team, but man, like they play really hard some nights, and they have a really good coach. So I'm just really looking forward to this iteration of the Hawks. More well, Vic Krejci put up 0 points last night, but m- more minutes for him. I don't know. He's a solid defender, I guess. He had he had 0 points, but 2 blocks, 2 steals. Anyways, let's do just some spitballing now. I'm not gonna do too much more analysis on anything else today. Um, yeah, I'm putting this out as soon as I wake up because who knows what's going to happen. The big news, of course, that everyone's heard about so far is that Memphis is finally taking calls on John Morant, and thank God, just thank God. And like, I wish it could be more players, but I'm happy that like Trae Young got traded. I'm happy that John Morant might get a fresh start somewhere. Um, I was watching. Oh yeah, we were just talking about Washington. I was watching the Washington Pelicans game from last night, and Zion Williamson had 31 points. God, when when he gets 1 foot in the paint, it is over when he's healthy, it is just absolutely ridiculous. But could he be in the news for one good thing once ever? Just like
no,
anytime I see Zion Williamson in a headline, I just know it's going to be bad. I'm just like, what
I
happened
just know
this
it's
time?
gonna be horrors. It's gonna be. Am I allowed to say horrors on here?
You said it. You said it.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's gonna
Sots,
be
sots, maybe. Like we could do like more Gen Z. I don't know what my demographics are here.
yeah, yeah. And this is no offense to the women. This is offense to him. Like, what are you doing? Where's your you got to have an uncle or a father or somebody. Like, what are we doing, man?
His priorities are eating, women of the night,
Hey, you need
eating.
to put an extra comma in this.
Eating slash.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah. Eating,
What?
comma, women of the night,
Whatever.
comma, eating. He, I mean, that's what we hear about with Zion. We hear about him eating and being overweight. We hear about him with women of the night or women trying to scam him out of, you know, you know, um, uh, you know, you know, Instagram models or whatever, getting caught up. We hear about him getting injured and eating all that delicious crawfish etouffee and
I,
beignets and
Uh,
all that delicious food down
well,
in New
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Orleans.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
beignets and all of those things, but also like the Coke bottles in the bathroom and like all of that stuff that we hear about as well. So, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But
like
yeah. It's
I will say he's like his body looks great right now.
he looks great.
You can tell, yeah, you can tell, and it's last year too. You can tell that he's put in the work in the food and working out area. I just think his body is he's got one of those like it's interesting. We were talking about it on another thing where like he had a crazy growth spurt in high school. Anthony Davis had a crazy growth spurt. Scottie Pippen had a crazy growth spurt that impacted his back as he played longer. So like sometimes it's just not in the cards for you to be healthy. I think we get so spoiled by like LeBron,
Yeah.
that it's like
Well, it's
some of these guys, their
interesting.
bodies just
but
aren't made
but
to hold
but
on.
but Braun grew to a crazy height, but it didn't. I've noticed that too. That guys who have freak growth spurts tend to be a bit on the brittle side,
Yeah.
um, or later on they develop issues. And you mentioned Zion, you mentioned, you know, Scottie Pippen, because he was a 6'1" going into college and came out of Central Arkansas 6'8".
Mhm.
The Admiral went into the Navy at like six
Five
two,
ten
six
or
three.
something. It was something
And
stupid.
and
Like
then yeah, six. Yeah, he was like 6 foot, 6'1", going in the Navy and comes out of the Navy at 7'1". Like it's and Admiral at the end of his career really started to have some problems keeping healthy. So you got these guys who have these free growth spurts. It worked for a time, but they end up being particularly brittle. It's just I mean, and if you see like if you try to watch, if you see Yao walking, it looks painful. If you see um, your George Mirasan walking around, it looks very painful. You get to a point where your body's really broken down, and unfortunately, Zion, even though he does look better, these nagging
he's
injuries
always
continue to
one.
be a pestering.
And I know I told you this before, Matt, but like we went to his first, I believe it was his first preseason game. It was here in Atlanta, and I took some of the kids I coached and my kids. And the first thing I saw when he walked out the tunnel, I was like, I don't like how he's walking. Like to be coming out of college and walking like Earl Campbell after 9 years in the NFL,
Yep.
like it was scary. Like his gait, I don't want to say he's knocked me, but it just like the gait. It's like somebody when he hit that growth spurt, nobody corrected how he runs, and so it's weird, but freakish, explosive athlete, like
I,
who
I,
would
I
be like
remember
one of the best players.
I think it was the Vegas game when they played the Knicks and he just muscled that ball away from Kevin Knox and dunked it. And it was one of the last times
Mhm.
I can remember hearing about Kevin Knox. I think he played that season, but uh, yeah, it's crazy too because most people who were watching Zion started watching him when he was like 16, and like I mentioned that like when he gets into the paint, he is unstoppable. But I'm amazed like how much he can play underneath the basket, like as well.
Mhm.
He's not. I mean, he's not always dunking it and slamming it home, but a lot of it is like finger rolls, layups. Um, so he almost has like a style of game that could be sustainable if he just gets healthy. Because yeah, he
Yeah.
still is unstoppable even at where he is now, which I think he is. He seems like he's pretty in shape if he can stay on the floor.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole era, like he's in the same draft classes as like John Morant, and like John Morant's got his own things going on, and like yeah,
They
it's
were
just
AAU
yeah
teammates too.
yeah
They were AAU teammates as well. So maybe they've been planning this a long time and we didn't know about it.
uh,
I'm gonna
yes.
get to my team and destroy it. You get to your team and destroy it too. No.
So what do we think? What do we think, gentlemen? John Morant for Lamelo Ball. Let's just trade a problem for a problem, and then most older people won't even realize that it was a change. It was like, wait, it was like, didn't Lamelo Ball always play on this team? No, that was the other team that all the young kids like. But I don't know. I like John Morant. He is going somewhere this year. I think um, it's it's going to be very very difficult to move him, and it's a lot of the same reasons why it might have been difficult to move Trae Young certain places. And he hasn't. John Morant hasn't played that good this season. He really has not. Like he's got career lows in a lot of areas this season, and it's hard to figure out which team is going to want him, even though he's going to bring a lot of positive to a franchise, especially if you're looking for someone who's just going to bring some culture to your team as well. Other players that I just read about or thought about: Michael Porter Jr., Laurie Markkinen. Anthony Davis is going to be tough now that he's injured. Colin Sexton, Rui Hachimura, Cam Thomas, perhaps. Maybe the Nets do some moving, either him or Michael Porter, DeMar DeRozan. Um, but the biggest trade might have happened already. I'm not really too sure. Maybe it is the John Morant trade, but it's not going to be a surprise. We're not going to get something like last year. I guess my two-part question to both of you: who will be traded? Who do you want to see get traded? Greg, I'll start with you.
Yeah. I think so. It's interesting. Like marketing, I feel like he should have been out of there. It looks like they want to tank, but the team they got like guys
So
that
good.
don't that play hard every
They're
night.
so good.
So
Offensively, I should say.
Keontae George. Yeah, yeah. Keontae George is hooping. Um, of course, Laurie is like they. It's just weird because I watched them a lot because we got two Atlanta kids on the team. And like I watched what's his name, Will Hardy. I watch him figure out ways to lose. Like, hey, we're on a roll right now. Let's pull this guy and put in some dude, random dude. So I would like to see Laurie out of there, but I don't. I feel like they should have. They probably would have got more for him, last year or the year before than they will now. So that one's an interesting one. I've been racking my brain, like trying to figure out who would want Ja. I don't think Ja has fallen off. I'm watching. They cut his minutes, they cut his role. Like he doesn't have the ball in his hands as much. And but I think that what he can bring, he'd still be able to bring. But on top of his baggage, just like Zion. It's like you got the off the court stuff as well. You know what I mean? So who
Yeah.
wants that? Who's gonna like Trey? You know, the only knock on Trey is that he might be a ball hog and he doesn't play defense. But now you got Ja who don't play defense, shoots guns,
Well,
and gets in trouble a lot and gets injured. So
well, I
it's
can
just
throw out a few teams that could actually trade for him, like match salary, maybe throw assets in, but are you going to be throwing in assets for John Morant? But any team I throw out, I think you could immediately say why they wouldn't want to do it, why it would be a problem. Timberwolves, you would stay away from it.
yeah,
Kings are
yeah. Him
Kings
don't
are
need
a
to be together.
mess, right? The Kings are an absolute mess. What's going to happen? The Nets, I mean, it makes sense. The Nets, like you
Oh,
get kind of
you don't
get a,
want him in Brooklyn.
yeah, but you don't want him in
Yeah.
Brooklyn though, right? Like
But it,
it's only
but
fun.
this is gentrified Brooklyn, so it might be okay. It might
It's
it's
still
coffee shop.
it's still Brooklyn.
I don't
No,
know,
like
man.
the Nets. The Nets. I mean, you bring a superstar there. The thing about him though is just like it
Can we
more
call
so
him a
than
superstar?
yeah, dude. He's a fantastic basketball player, and he
No,
actually
I'm not saying,
impacts
but that
winning.
doesn't mean, but that doesn't make him a superstar.
I'm
He's a
saying
star. He's a star talent, but I
He
don't
is
think
a
he brings
he is
the
a star.
caveats needed to uplift the franchise.
he did it
I
in
haven't
Memphis.
seen.
He did it in Memphis.
He
Yeah,
is
but
a
that remember that's it's been years.
yeah.
He's
In
been
a
years. It's been
couple of years,
injuries. It's been years. And it's been injuries,
they
and
should have never gave up
at,
Dylan Brooks. They tried to make him the scapegoat, and look what he's
they did
doing
try to
now.
make him the scapegoat.
He's balling.
But that
He's balling in Phoenix.
I don't
People.
because that that Grizzlies team was they were trying to make it like Ja was the culture and tone setter, and he really wasn't. He was out there playing games and being silly, and
He was
I just can't.
hooping.
He was hooping, but remember, he offensively he is a bit limited. If he's not attacking the basket, he doesn't shoot well from anywhere. So if he's not attacking the basket, he's pretty limited. He doesn't play defense, and he's just frequently injured now. So, but we know his decline in production is partially due to the severely reduced minutes, and I get that from the standpoint of Memphis trying to devalue him, so that I mean, not trying to devalue him, but just because it was a punishment type thing, and they just don't want to put all their eggs in his basket because they don't plan on keeping him forever. And
Which
hopefully
is
that hopefully they can hopefully they can trade him and and just be done with the John Morant era. But what do who really wants him is a big question, because no one really has a need for him. Um, he's not a point guard that really runs an offense. He's not a cerebral type guard, so you can't send him to somewhere like Houston who needs a cerebral type point
I just
guard.
don't.
And
I
most
just
of these teams don't need another athletic point guard. So it's like, where is his landing spot? You know,
I think
Brooklyn would be a like if they're trying to like reset, like Brooklyn might be the spot.
that
And like
they're such a mess, though.
yeah, that's but
he is
that's
mess.
but it's like the best out of like everything that I've gone through. I think Brooklyn might be the most logical just because they're already at that point where they are at a reset. And I just don't know, guys. Like, because I think the disconnect of where John Morant's, where his team of people, where they think he's going to be at, where the Grizzlies are going to think he's going to be at. Because I'm saying, like, if the Timberwolves made an offer, it would include Naz Reid. I think the Timberwolves would consider not trading Naz Reid for John Morant, while the Grizzlies would say we need more than Naz Reid for John Morant. He would be like the main guy going out in that deal. So yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I wouldn't do
The
that.
Timberwolves should just stay far, far away from that. If you're the Kings, you could trade the Rosen, but the Rosen is on a partially guaranteed season. If you're the Grizzlies, are you happy with that? Are you cool with that? Because
That
you can make
doesn't
it
do
work. You could throw
anything.
in Schroeder, you could throw in Malik Monk. You could Keegan Murray. No, 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 not Murray. No, I
And why would
didn't say that.
Sacramento do that when they're clearly heading towards a rebuild? Um,
Right.
they're clearly like the fact that they're letting, and I love Russell Westbrook, flaws and all, but the fact that they brought in Schroeder and Russ was starting by like game 4 or something. So it's like they're going nowhere. Like I think I don't know. It's hard for me to watch Sacramento. I have to watch. It has to be a team that I really want to watch playing them because I feel like DeRozan is just like trying to be the mid range champion of the world. Um,
I
yeah,
just,
I
I
wouldn't.
yeah, I just feel like okay, like Atlanta's got Jalen Johnson. There's a vision there, right? Z- You got Zach Edey, Colin Coward, and wait, did I say it right?
Mm-hmm.
Coward, yeah,
Oh, I thought I was saying the guy on Fox Sports. Okay, sorry. Um,
It's
anyways,
coward, just like someone who's scared. It's coward.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Coward, but I was thinking Colin is
it's
that right?
Cedric
Oh, you were
Coward.
thinking
Cedric
Colin.
Cedric
You were
Coward,
thinking
thank
Colin
you.
Cowherd.
Cedric, I said Colin
Yeah,
Coward. I was like, that's not right. Thank you, Cedric Coward. Zach Edey. So like, if you get uh, DeRozan as the main part of that deal, again, we're not thinking Kings, but or if you get Michael Porter Jr. as the main part of that deal, are you happy with that? And what are you doing in the West? The West is a freak show right now. The West is a powerhouse. So I just don't know what's
yeah.
going to
If
happen.
I was Memphis, I would try. I would be trying to move Jaren Jackson as well. Like, um, I would just
Blow
try
the whole
to
thing up.
clean the slate. And I don't know, he's one of my most annoying basketball players. Like, he doesn't rebound. He just be trying to figure out ways to get off that third grade looking jump shot. Um, yeah, I would get him out of there too. And he still doesn't know how to play without fouling. Like,
And
um,
and and
Yeah.
his
yeah,
his extension kicks in next year. That's right.
Yeah.
Because next year his $200 million extension player option in 2030 kicks in, or
yeah.
2029.
I would
Um,
I would try to move him
man,
to a
man, that's
team.
rough. Man, that is rough what if Zach E's on a team option the next 2 years? What if Zach E works out and then you got Jaren Jackson on $50 million a year? Who the hell takes that guy? I mean,
Right.
who like
Nobody in their right mind.
I, I mean, I
I
don't even
think he,
have
Yeah.
he would he would have to restructure. Um, but yeah, it was a bad deal for the team, and the team signed the deal thinking that they had a young core that was going to challenge for the championship. So they weren't anticipating breaking up Ja and Bain and Brooks and Jaren Jackson. They thought they had something for the long haul, and so they signed them to this ridiculous deal. And now, they're trying to. So now they're trying to throw all their grenades off the boat. Got rid of Brooks. They got rid of Bain. They're trying to get rid of Ja, and I think Jaren Jackson is up next on the chopping block.
And the funny thing about it is, I mean, hindsight is what it is, but like if you keep Bain and Brooks, those look like guys that you build around like a core of a team.
Yep,
Not neither of them are like super duper stars,
they're
but
not franchise players, but yeah,
they make differences on the court.
yes,
And and
you had a solid core team.
yeah. But I said it then, like when they started trying to scapegoat like Brooks, like you got a man that was told to stop playing with guns, and he's like, "Ooh, look, my guns!" And y'all blaming this kid? And I watched
Yeah,
him,
yeah,
and I watched him take a backseat. Like when Bang started to like come into his own, I watched Dylan pull back because Dylan got buckets in college. Dylan is a player. He's
he
not
did
just they were trying to make him into like just
a
a
three
three
and
and
D.
D guy,
yeah.
but no, he
Yep,
can hoop. And so um, yeah, just bad evaluations, and they should have
a
like I
scapegoat because they blamed the loss on the series loss on Dylan. Poking the bear with LeBron,
LeBron,
and
yeah.
yeah, so they're like, oh, it's all his fault we lost, and so we're gonna get rid of him. No, I mean, honestly, I would have kept Bane and Brooks and Shab Ja and replaced him with another top point guard, top level
Mhm.
point guard, and I think they'd be much better off for it.
Like they could have switched Trey at that time,
Yeah, they
like
could have
they would
gone
have,
Trey for Ja
and
and
that would have
gone and
been
been fine.
lethal. Yeah.
Yep.
right, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough trying to move him and don't really know where this team goes from here. Um, so yeah, I guess we see him moved before the deadline. I wish I could come on here and give better options of what that could be. And yeah, Dylan Brooks. Oh yeah, that last thing I was gonna say is there. Yeah, he played international ball that summer and did a great job. Played in the Olympics, played really well, and has played well on every team he's played for after that. So um, he's actually playing better than I ever thought he would offensively in the NBA. So he's actually made a jump more than what I would have anticipated. But yeah, Memphis is a mess. They're very far
Hmm.
away from. I mean, we're only 10 years out of when Mike Conley signed the biggest contract in NBA history. We're only 10 years.
Yeah.
We're only
Still
10
can't believe,
years.
still can't believe they gave him all that money. I still am shocked that they gave
And
Mike Conley all the money.
I like him, and I think he's a
Me
good
too.
dude. He's a good guy to have in your locker room. But I never saw that. I saw him. Again, I get getting to watch a lot of guys live. You talk about small, and to this day, like he's small, he's
Tiny.
frail. I watched Trey, like, ooh, he gave him such a hard time. This was when he was still, when people still said he could defend and stuff. So I never understood that. I think that was back at that time where you had to, give out the money or
You
else
pretty
you
much had
get,
to, and it was 30,
penalized.
like it was 35 million at the time, which is crazy that at the time I was like, wow, 35 million, so crazy. Like Kevin Garnett, 20 million, that was like a crazy time. But now it's ballooned to double that, and we're eventually going to get to a point where you see players playing for $1 million a game at least. Assuming they would play all
Mhm.
82 games. So
Yeah, we're
it,
almost there.
yeah.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah, yeah, we're almost there, and then we get to, you know, look forward to the future when the NBA expands, and then we realize, not too many people got $5 billion, and then they got to get Saudi Arabia involved, and then we can all be a
Oh
bunch of
Lord.
hypocrites, just like the rest of them. That would be cool. That would be super cool. Anyways, we're gonna leave it there, guys.
But
Yeah.
honestly, the one last thing before you close out,
Hmm?
you mentioned expansion. If this was an expansion year, it would be so much easier for a lot of these players who really don't have much of a trade destination,
Hmm.
because the expansion draft would take people. You could just leave Ja unprotected, and get you're the league compensatory for it. Um,
We can't have
and
John
I
Moran in
think because
Vegas. We can't have John Moran in
but
Vegas.
the thing,
We can't.
but
We
the thing
can't
is,
do it.
like, no, but the thing is, like, Seattle is likely going to be back within the next couple seasons.
Yeah,
We're going to see some expansion drafts. We're going to see some more thinning out, and we'll see where some of these problem players end up.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, but we can't have John, and we can't have Zion. And we need to send him. Where's a place that doesn't have
Miami.
women?
Well, Miami's got
A
Miami's
place that
got
Oh,
women.
man.
doesn't have women.
My, my, my,
Or are we going to go back to? Are we going to bring a franchise back to Kansas City? Because
well,
it's
Hey,
getting
wait a
boring
well,
there.
minute.
what would Charles Barkley
Whoa,
say?
whoa.
What would Charles Barkley say?
That's all.
Why do you think the Kings left Joe City, bruh? Why do you
San
think the Kings
Antonio.
left?
It wasn't because of that. Because obviously, you know what? I don't want to talk about it. San Antonio does have women. Like Charles Barkley was lying.
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
They're not
So
all big. They're not all big old women,
Every city's
as
yeah,
Charles Barkley says.
every city's got women. I threw out Miami quickly because he could run on the beach and he could get on a juice diet and he could do all of that cool stuff.
He'll
But at that point, just send him to
no,
L.A.
because we need Ja away from good food and away from beautiful women.
I
So the
mean
best
Zion.
place to
Zion,
yeah,
yeah.
Zion. So the best place to send him was to start a franchise in a city that doesn't have an NBA team, like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh don't
Saskatchewan.
have Pittsburgh doesn't have an NBA team. The food isn't good. The women are not great. So Pittsburgh to me would be a great choice to send Zion. It's great. Gray skies most of the year, so he don't want to be outside surrounded by three rivers. He probably can't swim. So I think Pittsburgh would be a great place for Zion.
Wow, this
I
is
mean,
this is such a
if they have
such
internet
such a fun way to
and
end
an
this
Yeah,
airport,
podcast. All right, listeners, leave us a comment down below. Let us know which city you think has not good looking women or bad food. Let us know. Yeah, that would be great. You know what? I think all cities have have food that's good and women that are beautiful. That's what I believe. So there it is. So good luck to Zion. Um you look good when you're on the floor and you got a lot to play for now because I think you got at least two kids. It seems like it. It seems like it. Um there's not a better way to do like the money transfers where your name's not on it. Anyways, okay, I'm moving on. Anyways, uh you guys you get
NDAs, man, NDAs.
yeah. Yeah, whatever. Okay, anyways, it has been
Also, stop messing with whores. I'm sorry.
that's
At
that's
least
gonna
the
be
ones that are gonna, at least the ones that are gonna, publicly out you and go on
right.
year-long tirades.
that that I think you just described like what you said that thing that you said is, but I'm not gonna say it. So anyways, it's been a pleasure, guys. It has been super, super fun. This has been way overdue, of course. And hey, since we got SidePanel Network over here, we're gonna do some cool collabs because you wanna come on Nintendo Therapy, play some games, talk about it. We'll do that. We'll do things in 2026 that people aren't expecting. So thanks so much. Any other things? Any you guys got anything else coming out this week? Next week?
Uh, just check out Finalysis 101. The episode we recorded drops this weekend, where we talk a bit of. It's more of a rant, but we rant a bit about just keeping it honest when we're discussing sports. Because a lot of these people out here are be lying, be capping, and putting out
Mm.
bad information. So if you're going to discuss sports, you can't be misinforming the the listeners. You can have your own opinions. You can have differing opinions, but let's keep the things factual that we're debating about. So we talk about that, and yeah, keep an eye out for episode 1 of season 2 of Finalysis 101.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, check that out. All of the links for today are going to be in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things if you're on YouTube. If you're somewhere where you can leave a comment, do that to help the algorithm. Share it with an NBA fan in your life and hope you have a great week of NBA basketball. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. All right. All right. See you guys next time.